Water. You call me Harry Potter. Something. I found out why they wrote that. Anyway.
Why?
Because,
I'm walking on water. You can call me Harry Potter. I just take off from some
time. Anyway, this will be cut.
Should it?
Hi. Welcome back to FanSERVice Podcast.
Today we're going to talk about our recent concert viewing experience.
Yes, a DominAte World Tour. Very hard name.
DominAte. Oh wait, no, it's DominAte.
Domino. But they also had an album called Eight. So yes.
What are we talking about? I don't know. Stray Kids.
You know
the homeless children of Southern Korea.
The homeless children of JYP.
JYP.
Also, I need to take a moment to mention the fact that before the concert they had this like intensive trailer about JYP that
they did
showed all of their acts and everything, including Vicha, which
and people screamed.
Real loud, and I said, "Are we not? Oh wait, whatever." I don't think any music videos went on the thing actually.
No, they played a lot of the music, a lot of Stray Kids music.
Yes, a lot of music was playing. But there was the only video that was shown was the JYP trailer, which, yay,
I
was excited twice. We went to the first day of their show at Citifield. It was our second time at Citifield for a K-pop concert. The first being the infamous 2-hour delayed rained out AT's concert. Phenomenal.
Yeah, great time.
So
still one of my favorite concerts, and the weather was terrible.
Weather was terrible.
Couldn't care less.
Literally, I think that two of the greatest concert experiences we ever had, we were literally in pouring rain.
Yes.
Yeah. Because JK was pouring rain too.
Yes.
New York. Which I will say the second day of the New York concert for Stray Kids also had a rain delay for the exact same reason.
Did it?
Yes. So they had
it's just
about
this time of year.
This time of year, but also New York has a rule with thunder and lightning, correctly so. So whether or not y'all want to be like, oh, it's whatever. Once there's thunder and lightning, they gotta shut stuff down when it's
for
outside.
Your safety.
It's for your safety, because I've worked at an outside theater in New York, and I have seen as lightning struck a tree. It is not cute. It's very dangerous for everyone involved, including not just the fans, the actual artists themselves, and all the staff who are literally on a bunch of metal scaffolding. It is not safe. So I'm happy that they at least had the wherewithal to do that. In terms of heat, it really was pretty nice for our day.
No problem.
The stairs were staring though.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah.
So the first time when we were at Citifield, we were on the floor, and so I'm sorry. So we didn't know how much of a hike it was to get. If you're in the 500s, 300, 400, 500s, those seats are, they're just not handicap accessible at all. I'm sure there's an elevator in there, but even when we were coming into the venue, I think a lot of times venues get overwhelmed with K-pop concerts because they don't understand the amount of traffic that it's going to get, and they're not prepared to handle that, because they think it's just going to be a whole bunch of 14-year-old girls and their moms. And what ends up happening is when we were there, they tried to make the line, they tried to straighten out the line basically, so they made the aisles really, really skinny. So people who were bigger couldn't get through. People who needed, there were people with walkers and people in wheelchairs who could not get into the line to get into the building.
It's not ADA compliant. And then based on research I did after the fact, because I am interested very much in what they do for disability, access in general for a lot of these venues. Citifield disability-based seating supposedly was not the best. A lot of these baseball stadiums are not. So for the price that you're paying for it, the view you have is a little off kilter. And I became very aware that a lot of those middle seats that kind of had no one else around it were the ADA seats, and that's why they kind of had the worst seating, so to speak. So I will say it wasn't a super accessible place entirely. Now I don't know if that's the truth for when they are just in the Met season.
Right. Maybe
but
different.
During concert series, it definitely you could have done a lot better, sweetie. A whole lot better. And if it was as high as it ended up being for the DC show that just happened.
So I found out about that this morning because I was watching the news.
Damn.
I'm a grandmother. I was watching the news and they were like, these kids are out here for this concert to see a group called Stray Kids. Maybe you heard of them. And yeah, girl. And and I had. So I finished watching the thing, and they were interviewing people, and people had spent like thousands of dollars to come, get Barricade, to see Stray Kids. And I mean, they were showing clips of Bang Chan handing out water bottles.
Yeah.
Lee No handing out water bottles with an attitude. That shit was kind of hot. Can't lie to you, can't lie to you, can't lie.
That's like, fire. Okay.
That shit was fire. And Han in a muscle tee.
Now, they also were about to pass out a lot. That was scary. But there's also a lot of people in the audience who actually did and were unaware.
Yeah.
It's severe heat if you're not aware on the East Coast right now. It's giving hot and not like Le Seraphim, I'm burning hot. Like, actually, you're burning. Like, like bad. Like bad.
Yeah.
It's really, really bad. People are very susceptible to heat stroke in this type of weather. It is like muggy as well, so you can't really get easy breaths. You need consistent water consumption, consistent cooling down as often as possible. And with these stadiums being the way that they are being open, it is very dangerous to be out exposed to sun for so long. And because of how these K-pop concerts are set up, when people are trying to get Barricade, they are either camping out or they're there super early, whether they're trying to get merch or Barricade, VIP wristbands, whatever. And that sucked because a lot of people who had to stand out there and do all these things, they didn't give out free water like that. And then also a lot of people got shut out from going into their sound check. So for that, super, super sorry. That should have been handled way, way better by the venues. I think a lot of these venues, again, disregard or completely invalidate who is performing a lot of the time. Because I will say, as someone who has been to concerts at Citifield, who's been to concerts in that same DC arena, in a lot of baseball stadiums, when it was Lady Gaga or whoever else, that was never really an issue, even in the same time of year.
Now, when it's those kind of concerts, are there a ton of people camping out too?
In different ways, yes. It depends. So if there's pit, a lot of times you are still getting camp out depending on how involved the artist is. So if someone's like trying to go see Lady Gaga back in like the Fame Monster time, people were camping out. It also was less hot because, guys, climate change is real. But the idea is, like, even if you're not camping out, you're still exposed to sun for at least a block of 4 hours.
I feel like at a certain time of year, we have to just not be doing that. Like, I know it's unrealistic to expect people to do because, like, you have to be so close to your bias, but, like, you can die. Like, it's really not worth it. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, Bang Chan's not gonna notice if you're not, like, in the front row barricade.
You will pass out though, so don't do that.
No, see, now you inspired them.
Passing out because you like his muscles versus passing out because of heat stroke are two very different things. They're very scary. When you see someone have heat stroke, it traumatizes.
It's not hot. He's not gonna like you after that.
It's not cute. It's not walking on water. It's giving you need water. So, and I'm doing that to lighten the mood because it's actually very serious.
Yeah, no, it's
and
not
people
good.
did, because they had to end the concert early. Like, people, felt a little like sad because they had went there and paid money and done whatever. But those are things that do happen. They cannot control the weather.
It's not Stray Kids' fault. That's the other thing that I've been seeing online about the discourse. Like, I think in booking these concerts, JYP's as a company, not JYP himself.
And Live Nation.
Yeah, JYP and Live Nation's strategy was not super well thought out. And I think in general, I don't know if it's cheaper to book like venues like Citifield instead of MSG, because I know it's a lot to have like a roof. I get that, but when it comes to the safety of your performers and of your audience, it makes a huge difference. And now we're prepping for ATs, and I brought up to her, I'm like, now we know that Uyum has a thing with heat and being outside and like high temps. But if it's anything like what Washington DC is experiencing, or like the week we're having in New Jersey right now, he's not gonna be okay, dude. With the discourse that we're seeing online, you have to understand that artists also need a break. And I think when we're seeing a lot of young fans, especially like you said, Stray Kids has a lot of young fans, a lot of the content that I'm seeing is like, here's how to stay cool at a concert, here's how to stay safe, here's how to, and like, y'all need to actually watch those videos. Like, do not skip those videos. Please watch those videos.
Because it doesn't just pertain to K-pop concerts either, or just concerts. It's anything
being outside.
It's very, very dangerous. And we are living in a very scary world for multiple different reasons. But like the weather is something we really cannot control. So let's do our best with that. So full disclosure, I am a periodical listener of Stray Kids. By that I mean there are a lot of like fandoms that I could sit there and say I'm a part of, like in a deeper way. But in terms of like Stray Kids, 17, a couple other groups that are like really well known, including like Twice. Like I'm a periodical listener, so I wouldn't count myself as being like a once or a stay or a carrot. But God's Menu, that's a good ass fucking treadmill song. Okay, it hits, and like, we know.
I think it was really integral for us to go see Stray Kids because Stray Kids is currently one of the most popular groups that is touring in the United States. And as far as like when I was first getting into K-pop, Stray Kids was one of those things that just kept coming up in my feed.
It's so sad, yeah.
I have never really jammed with their music because I do think that I have a real need for deeper lyricism. I can balance it out, but at a certain point with the do rum pum 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 la 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 la, I get bored.
Yeah,
I get bored. That's just
Blackpink. It's just a thing. It's
that's just me. But that's just me.
It's a formula within a lot of K-pop songs. I'm not mad at it when it's done a certain way. I think that the thing that comes across for me, like versus like I'm not into the whole comparing of people, but the idea is like versus like a P1 Harmony, for example, where like you'll have a lot of songs that give some of the similar vibes in terms of production. Stray Kids has their very clear sound that 100%. I really have to give them kudos for because they have
when
that
it comes on, it's the Stray Kids song.
100%, and I like that they're self-produced and self-written. I love that. But whereas with P1 Harmony, sometimes it'll still feel like a lot of difference.
Their discography has more of an array of like sounds.
Yes. And that's not to say that again. Like sometimes I love a noisy music.
Yeah, I mean everybody has their own prerogative, and I think that's part of this journey for me, especially since I'm still new to it, is finding what, like listening to all the different types of music that are out there is what I've always been doing. I think we both have always done that, but then finding like specifically what I enjoy and then what about it I enjoy, and then learning about the roots of that and why I enjoy that. Because I will say, I think with the sound effects that come in the songs, and then like the every third word being an English word that is like so commonplace with K-pop, when you're used to rap music, it, especially like when you've grown up on rap music, I think like your brain hears it a little bit differently, and like you can get icked sometimes. That I do have moments where with certain groups I do feel that. But going to Stray Kids was interesting because it was the first time I had gone to a concert of a group that I wasn't necessarily a huge part of their fandom. So I was kind of learning things as I was attending the concert, which was very, very interesting.
And of the people that we interacted with like one-on-one, they were banging. They also looked amazing. The outfits definitely like coincided a lot with people. There's a lot of the netting.
Everybody, a lot of similar fits.
Which like I'm not mad at, because like if that's the vibes, it's the vibes. Because like we're about to go to Jin, and I know for a fact we're about to see a tuna and like a chef and like for a fact.
You're on brand.
You're on brand. Really on brand,
sure.
and I'm about it. So. But I did appreciate the fact that they understood what the colors were very much, and stayed on track with that, because it did make it look better as an array when you were in your seats.
Everybody matched.
I love a vibe, because we came from Cowboy Carter, and that was giving like fashion show.
But very different. Very different in that.
Like it makes it. It's different. We got tickets, and we're very fortunate to get pretty affordable ones, to be completely honest, and we were completely comfy being in our 500s. I heaved up them stairs at Citifield, but I will say the food options in the 500s
way better than the
floor, and I'm pissed because
we were at Citifield for 2 hours in ATs in the rain, just eating our japchae feeling,
and it was not good, and it wasn't good. It was sad. And then it was some good ass fucking fries. Okay,
they had Mr. Softy up there. They have.
I got good ass like spiked lemonade, because I am of age. Praise the Lord. In case you didn't know, black don't crack. You definitely knew. I'm old.
No, you're not.
No, I'm saying like old for the people who were definitely there.
I
will say demographics wise.
We were old for that concert.
And again, it's not being comparative, but demographics wise, I will say it was one of the first concerts by people of color that I've been to that and I'm not saying we live in America, so most of the time the demographic is going to be leaning a very certain way.
There's so much prefacing. There's so much preface happening.
No, because it's the truth.
I can't.
Because we'll see a lot more white faces than you will see others. Now, the one place that usually isn't the case, and there's some sort of like an easy gauge of all, is usually a concert where the artist is not from America.
Right.
I will say, and it's not to like make a point of it, but it was something that was noticeable because again, we're black in America.
Yeah,
so we pay attention to
know
our
who's there.
surroundings.
Yeah, you have to for safety reasons.
And Stray Kids definitely, from first glance, had a lot more of a certain demographic of people.
So what you're trying to say is there was a lot of white people there. And what I find interesting about that is usually when you see groups that are usually not from America, like you'll usually expect, like you said, the audience to kind of represent who you're seeing on stage. And I find it interesting that the majority are white, or at least that came to that concert.
They're still going to be the majority because again, it's America. But,
yeah.
And also where we are.
But in Stray Kids, it didn't feel like that, and it was really interesting. And I don't know if it's because they are more accessible, but it was interesting to watch. And when we were eating our immaculate food in the 500 level before we changed our seating, we sat next to these girls who were much younger than us, and we were kind of like chatting. We kind of overheard these girls, like we're not nosy, but we overheard these girls next to
each other,
and they were talking about like their other concert experiences, and they were also saying like, you know, different fandoms that they had experienced and like how friendly certain fandoms are as opposed to others. And it was just interesting to hear, because like these are conversations that we have amongst ourselves, but it was interesting to hear what younger people were experiencing in the same fandom space. Don't remember your name, we didn't get to interview you, but shout out to y'all.
They were super still excited to see the concert, while also just being honest and fair about the idea that they were like, wow, there's a lot of there's a lot of milk in this kitchen.
Yeah, no, we talked to them, but we didn't get their ads. But I respect that, because I feel like it's inspiring to see that there are young K-pop fans, young fans of anything in general, young Americans in the world at all, who have the wherewithal to be like, yeah, you know, could be better.
It's not to say that that's a problem. Yeah. It's more so speaking on the idea of like when the pocket that K-pop creates is usually a diverse one currently, with the way in which they are handling a lot of things. All day project, what the fuck is that? What? You are going to start we didn't even talk about that today. We haven't even talked about that yet. I'm gonna be quiet. But with that being a thing, like you're starting to see a dwindling of the diversity even in the people who are, and I know that that's the truth of accessibility in general, because a lot of these tickets are very expensive.
They're expensive as fuck.
Expensive. We're in the 500s. We were having a kicking ass time. We had our fries. We had our
little lemonades.
We had our lemonades.
And the lady carded us like we were young. She
carded us to our seats. We got our little like signs because they had that little project they were doing. We went to our seats and we were like, okay,
which is they can't. That's sweet to include the people in 500s because they ain't seeing that.
No, honestly, organized.
They were.
But we went to our seats. We sat down. We were drinking our little drinky drink. We were like, okay, cute. It's actually a pretty nice view. It's just from up in the.
It was.
We were up. We were like, if we can find a way to get up closer, it would probably be worth it.
Right.
We were willing to even like stay in a certain area of like budget if we wanted to do that. We were like, let's just see what we can find.
We had a bag that day.
We had a bag. And we were like, honestly,
it really wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. So there's two ways to go about it, really, truthfully, technically, and I don't want everybody to start doing it, because if you fuck up my ability to do it, I'm gonna hunt you down.
Yeah.
So here's what you can do. One, you can call Ticketmaster and say, hello, I would like to upgrade my ticket. And they will say, okay, you can pay the difference, which is like the difference between the ticket that you paid for and the difference of the ticket now, depending on how close you are to the show. It might be cheaper because they just want to fill up the seats.
Because sometimes when you're close to the show, they'll just be like, sure. Or if you're lucky enough and they have a ticket stand at the venues, which they are supposed to have, you can also go there and ask if they have any tickets left to go closer. And sometimes, because you're already, the doors have opened, you've been in your seat, you've been there, they will possibly give you the upgrade. And it fucking slaps.
What I will say is, when we first got into Stray Kids, it didn't seem like it was kind of empty when we first got it.
A lot of people didn't want to be there early, which I understood.
Yeah, it was hot.
It was hot.
But but I also feel like I saw parents bringing kids. Like, I'm sorry, I hate this. The dad's wearing the "I'm just here for my daughter" shirts. Like, or just support your kid and shut the fuck up.
Like, shut up.
There's so I don't know if you saw, like, in front of me on the side, there's this black mom and her daughter.
Yes.
And now Mama was sitting down the whole time.
Yeah.
But when they started doing the fireworks, she would stand up and say,
yeah, she was like, I know my job. I love the fireworks.
And when they came by on the little cart, daughter was screaming her head off. Mom was like, you like that one?
God.
Like, I loved it.
Honestly,
I loved it.
A flex, if you want the support of your parents in your K-pop obsession, but you also want to be a fan cam girly, bring your parent and make them fan cam girly for you.
Now, I don't know if you got a parent who's going fan cam girly and pay for the ticket, because I don't think I do, but I'm also grown.
Yeah.
But if you do, bless up.
Yeah,
bless up. Good for you.
Oh, daddy's money and daddy Bangchan. Anyway, we were in the 500s. We decided let's try and find a new avenue to get the tickets.
Yeah.
We did. It was kind of nice. It was great. We ended up finding a way to get tickets, and we got bumped up to the nice 124s.
And I know people were worried about the nets.
Yes.
The nets are not that bad.
No.
For your videos,
it's not cute. It definitely does. Any version of obstructive view, even with a net, always feels a little bit like slighted. Not largely though. It really is not that big of a deal, but it definitely does. Like, for the amount that people did pay, actually, when they were originally buying those 100s, we did in God's favor.
yeah.
It probably wasn't.
I would have had an attitude.
I would have had an attitude too. But it still was way worth it for the upgrade in general.
Yeah, because we were right in front of that little
cart, which that's one of my pros for the concert. I do love when a group does a little Cardi moment. I love a Cardi B. A Cardi B. Because I love that it just like trails right by, and I said, okay, ooh, I like it. Ooh, ooh, hey, I da, da, da. And then I was like, okay, I'm fine. And also, one thing that I will appreciate, there's this one K-pop creator, and she was explaining on TikTok, because I got a little scroll scree, I was having a problem. She explained something that I actually completely understood when she explained it, where she said when they were going around the cart, something happened where I detached for a moment and started seeing them, because during the concert you're having like a good ass time, you're there to see your idols. They are like your idols to you at that moment. They are not, you're not thinking that deeply about, as much as you want to, the fact that you see them on a screen most of the time and they are people. And she was like, the minute that they passed by, something happened that clicked in my head where I was like, oh, you're like
it's funny.
Regular people.
It's funny. I mean, we've been performing and around performers for a long time, so I feel like we have a different thing. But with the idols, like, when you are consuming so much of their content and you are so used to their face and like the way they perform and how they look and how they sound,
it's very filtered.
Yes, and being that close, you're just like, oh. And it's not in a bad way. It's just like,
it's kind of it's honestly in a very, very nice validating way that also kind of eradicates any parasocial crap that's stuck in your head in that moment.
That is so mature. Because I was like, oh, you can marry them.
Oh no!
That's attainable.
I don't think that's parasocial to say. That's actually, I think, the opposite. That's what I'm saying. Like, where they're regular.
Because I was like, you not that. Let me shut up.
Well, no, like you, because the version that you're seeing is like the photo card I have and the phone and the performances.
I'm like,
that
you're high, but you're 5'7".
You're 5'7",
like,
and you're so bad at, bro. And like you're just like hitting your little thingy and your little shoe.
Do you look at you?
Now y'all still are like unacceptably gorgeous. Like you're still not real. Face cards. Never decline. Arms. What? Arms.
I am Hanji Sung.
Hyunjin?
I can't talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm still not in a place to talk about that. Hyunjin was giving early 2000s boy band realness with like the spiky hair and the face.
Yeah.
And the little, every time he put on a fucking armband and some little 2000s fucking sunglasses, feral.
It was nice.
Feral. And the way people were gasping, it was so fun. It was just nice. Fun that everyone was like,
And so we moved up. We got to see amazing like close-ups of a lot of things. We were in a good view as well to see the stage while you could see the screens, which another pro that I had from this concert. The production level was quick.
They got money.
They got money. But also they had like a good production team that they kept thinking throughout the concert. Like
valid.
Much times it was extremely valid because the way in which like the screens were giving 4K out the ass. The visuals on those screens were actually like very, very well timed and very, very helpful for creating the atmosphere for any of the songs they had.
Yes.
The fucking now they also are part of production. The fucking dance team and the fucking band.
Yeah. Really great. Yeah. I am gonna say though, when you come to America, come the fuck correct. Don't wear your appropriative ass hairstyle and expect nobody to say some shit. And I'm specifically saying this because we have already done our hairstyle and microaggression episode where we talk about how Bang Chan did have braids and kind of just played it off and has never talked about it. And so standing up there with background dancers who are also wearing braids and also like doing hip hop dance and having braids together and like bringing that shit to the birthplace of hip hop is a bit ignorant.
No, it's weird.
So I will say that.
And I will say like that's been an issue too with like a lot of the background dancers have been doing that. And this is tricky because they're technically like separate entities. The idea is that they do not have the same hairstyles as you, so they're gonna sit there and have their hair just come and whatever, and you're like, ooh, but the job to do is to go, no, change it because it's not cute. It's not it. You're in America. Don't do that. You shouldn't be doing that in Korea or Southeast Asia or Europe when you go there either. But
and when you're doing choreo with them, like you see them, you see their hair. You know, you're on tour with them. You see their hair every night. So you know, and so for you to not clock it and say, oof, I don't love how that makes us look, that speaks to me a lot.
Yeah, and it does get clocked. Like we were like, oh, and it wasn't just us.
There were multiple black women in the section.
We were who were like, oh. And there it is, like all the time.
Because it ruins the experience for you. Like you can have so much fun and be so excited to spend this money to see an artist, and then you're like, oh right, you hate me.
Or like, oh, you think that's so fun that
I'm a joke. I'm a costume.
You destroyed your follicles, and for what? But
because it wasn't stellar.
Because it gives the same vibes that I had with that one fucking backup dancer he was like backup for fucking 17 for BTS, all them fuckers, and he loved his fucking weird ass he thought he was the Weeknd, and I fucking hated that shit, and we have not seen that man in years.
Good.
And part of me was like, oh my god, is it you? Fuck. Is it you? Is you?
When I catch you, Ricky.
I didn't like that. That was one of my cons. But that, again.
I mean, all things considered, because the band was so black and so good.
So black.
And they obviously had really good vibes with the members. So, I don't know, 50-50.
Yeah.
Microaggressive. But, like, who's not?
Yeah. And I was like, whatever. It's just, you get used to it at this point. I don't like it. But that's just kind of the vibes currently.
Such is the crux of being black in America.
Black and liking anything.
Literally anything.
So my one true con of the concert itself. Like, again, I already spoke on the fact that, like, I am not the biggest fan of every single one of their songs. But I am very much a giant fan of curation. I love when someone curates a set list and makes it work with storytelling in the way that they want it to be told and feels very authentically them. And I'm not saying that it wasn't authentically them. What I'm saying is that starting with Mountains was interesting, and not just because I will speak on the fact I just don't like the song. That's true, but I also feel like there were definitely ways in terms of production for even the song, if you were going to start with that song, to kind of make it more epic than it was. With the way it started, because again, production level of the actual concert, there were pyrotechnics, there was light shows, there was fucking fire,
there was an inflatable giant for Giant, which was awesome.
It was great.
Like, it was actually so cool the way it just like blew up on the stage, and then they like kind of like ran away. Like, it was so cool.
And the fireworks cinema, that entire section there.
Cinema was phenomenal. But the problem is, it's like each song was telling a story, but it was a completely different story. And I'm not saying that your concert has to have a full through line, but usually any concert, like, the artist has a vision of what they want their audience to feel by the end of that concert. And my gripe was that I didn't necessarily know what it was about.
Again, like, if there's an argument there, right, that I'm always open to, where I do believe that there's a weird area that you're left in as an artist, where it's like your concerts are for your fans.
Yeah,
I completely do 100% agree with that. With that being the case, it's kind of having to toe a line of like, this is what y'all want as my fans, this is what matters, but I'm also going to very clearly show you who we are and have it be kind of very clear. Not like, I know who their vibes are, I know who y'all are, and honestly, I'm not mad at it. But the fact of the matter is that if you're people who are sitting there, which we were around some people who definitely were like either casual listeners or really weren't like that deeply invested, you need to kind of keep the energy up enough with the set list and how it goes along to do that, because a lot of Stray Kids' vibe, which I'm not mad at.
It is hype music.
It's hype music, is giving cool laid back. I don't hate with certain songs. Other ones it makes more sense with than others. But because of that, you're like, oh, okay, like we start with Mountains, we do Backdoor, whatever, we're doing all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, these are like hype ass songs, but like the time where I started being like, oh, we're in it, was like Chick Chick Boom, Top Line, the songs where I was like, okay, yes.
And Top Line was literally just them going like this the whole song.
But they were actually having a lot of fun.
You could definitely see them actually locking in when they got to the older songs. When they got to Backdoor, when they got to God's Menu, that's when you were like, la la la, like you were like, oh, this is Stray Kids.
Here we go.
Before then, it wasn't like they weren't having fun. It just felt like they clocked it.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm going to work, you know?
And they've been on tour for a minute.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to give you benefit of the doubt with that, because you've been on tour for a minute. There's a way of conserving energy that is also, I'm noticing, is a trend with a lot of these K-pop groups now. That I'm not mad at, because the fact of the matter is, I do not want you to go so hard that you're going to pass out. I do not want you to phone it in. I do not want you. Y'all are human beings who are performers. This is what you do. You've trained for it. I understand that. I'm not sitting here asking for you to give me every single time 110% for the whole fucking concert at all. What I am always interested in is, I'm noticing that there is it's not just JYP, it's actually pretty much everybody, where there's like this kind of fueling of the idea of, okay, let's kind of give 110 here
at the beginning, and then do nothing.
And then do nothing for a bit, and then do another 110. Or let's do 910 at the very, very beginning, and then all of a sudden, like 3 songs into it, and you're like, oh, okay. And it's everybody. Everyone's kind of doing a version of that. The only people I will say I don't think we have done it, and I may not keep this in, is TXT, because of the way that they do their set list.
No, because TXT, they structure their set list so there are break times. They were not jumping clearly in and out of their track.
No.
There were lots of times where they were singing over top and doubling it, or, I mean, with the absolute exception of Cinema, Lino and Sungmin sung that entire song all the way through, 110%. But like, those are the vocalists. As far as vocalists, those two were holding it down 110%. But for the majority of it, and I mean with what they're doing, and Banchan's also like speaking English, and he's in charge of everything, so he has a lot going on. But like, the track thing did bother me.
There was a lot of sound things that were weird too, where I would be like, oh, and again, if we're gonna have shows at these stadiums, we gotta be prepared for that.
For outside stadium sounds.
So like even the audience, the sounds are gonna be weird. Like the way in which like things were even being screamed back at you, the sounds were giving like echo, weird acoustics, whatever. Like it's just what's gonna happen. But I will say definitely, I think that was another tiny gripe I had, because I think it takes you out of it a little bit as someone who just values performance in general. I value a good time.
And they have it. We know they can perform. That's not the question. We know they can perform.
And truthfully, it doesn't matter to the majority of people who are there. Which is really what matters, because
it's for the fans.
It's for you.
Fans,
so
for sure.
If you were still feeling hype because their songs are hype and they make you feel a certain way, it's great. They did a fan project during the concert where there was a lot of fans who spoke and of what Stray Kids means to them and everything, and it was a surprise to them, which is very sweet. So that's really what matters. The point is that obviously they still garner a fan base that's extremely loyal to them, and they are always showing up and always excited and happy for it. I definitely think that with continuation of their careers and everything, that there's going to be a shift where a lot of the cons I had from this won't be a thing anymore, or at least they'll adjust.
Because they've also been going nonstop.
They have been going nonstop. Which is the problem with a lot of the fourth gen groups.
TXT, ATs, like all of these groups have been run in the fucking...
even the girls too. Like everyone's been sitting there being kind of ran ragged, and pushed to put out a lot of music. Because we have to be honest, also, Stray Kids, all the groups we just mentioned, all of them have been releasing so many mini albums.
So much music. We don't want mini albums. We want a real album. Just go home and actually write music. Just sit down for a second.
Cool down. If you want to, like, if it's something that you guys want to just keep releasing something, fine. Now, I will say, funnily enough, again, this is an opinion. Other than cinema, because I just like, this is it's dramatic. I'm a High School Musical girly, so it's dramatic. I think the duo songs do have a place within the concert, but I did feel like it would have been interesting to have them happen later in the concert, if anything, because those did replace the original set list from back when they started with the solos. And even though I have everyone does, because there are 8 people in this group. 8 is a good amount of people.
It's a good number,
and especially when you have solos for them, that's now about 2 minutes minimum
of your people are getting breaks, legit breaks. Now supposedly they changed it because from general consensus I got was that there's most people with injuries, etc., like they were trying to change it around. Back and all that.
Yes. Now I do think that technically it still would have given people more breaks, in my opinion, to have the solos, but it also is hard to facilitate that when people are doing different things and you have to I'm a vocalist. I understand that sometimes if you are going through touring for a very, very long time, that you're not going to be able to constantly hit
certain notes
and certain things, and it's hard. Especially if you're also going to include the duos later, because you did that in the next album session. So I understand that. So I can understand why that was the piece that was taken out. Which makes sense for, again, the curating of things. Yeah, that made sense to me. I didn't know that. Yeah. So I'm I would get that, because I'm okay, if you're trying to actually keep stamina in some regard, doing all those songs was going to not be easy.
Yeah.
So I understand why they did that. I also can understand it in the idea of you trying to also keep the momentum of the group kind of forward, because most of the songs in that entire concert were giving all of us together, unless it was the duos,
which I did like.
I did like too, because it made it so that everyone was on stage for a very long time.
We got to see everybody evenly, I felt.
Yes, which was nice. I still think it was a very fun time. For a lot of moments that I was okay,
stuff that we didn't expect to hit did hit.
They hit. And then the firework display,
fireworks were beautiful.
They were gorgeous. The feeling that this entire production is supposed to exude was happening whenever that was going on.
Yes.
And I was I feel the rock. Da 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 da. I was I do. I don't know what that means, but I do. And it made me feel excited. The moment where you give space to the people in the stands to dance too.
Yeah, so that's the other thing though. I did feel I loved that relay game of here's the choreo, give it to someone in the stands. That was cool. Shout out to the one black girl who absolutely killed it. Murdered. Love you for that. So the other thing that I really did notice, and I couldn't tell if it was because it was hot or because people were tired, but it did feel there were a lot of breaks in the concert for them to just talk to the audience. And what's interesting, and you said this on the ride home, is that usually when you see a K-pop concert, the audience conversation is a skit. It wasn't scripted, but it also felt they were a little bit reserved to do the talking to the audience.
I kind of did like the fact that it was off the cuff.
Yeah.
It made it feel more personable.
Yes.
But I definitely was we're filling up a lot of time and a lot of space with this conversation.
Yeah.
Which was fine. If I felt that, and it's not that I didn't feel that the room was invested, because again, there are people who are going to be in that room who were we all were, I understand that. It just didn't feel with the energy that was going past back and forth, that there was a lot of investment in the talking part, which I also will say partially may have been from the fact that he did seem a bit reserved is the best word I can use.
And what's interesting too is, remember that point where he was okay, if you guys are sitting down, stand up. And then people stood up and he goes, oh, so a lot of you were sitting down.
Yeah. Which it was true. But then again,
bitch is hot.
It was hot, and also y'all had been talking for 10 minutes.
For 10 minutes.
Some people did sit
and not
down.
even saying nothing.
And some girl in our section went to go get some chicken fingers. It would make sense. Like,
it came back.
Long, and there was still time before the song. Y'all are on stage
for hours,
and all those pyrotechnics
with no opener,
because we were far away from the little fire effect that was happening.
That shit was so hot.
But that shit was hot as fuck. Like, what was that? So I know for a fact that in them freaking Prince outfits that you had on, that you were burning hot. I really was hoping, and as someone, again, I don't count myself as a stay, but I wanted there to be more energy for them.
Yeah, for them, from the fans.
It helps to continue the morale and the fact that you are breaking stuff for people. Like, you're doing a lot of work. Now, I can also speak on the fact that I definitely feel like the way in which the set list was set up was not helpful in curating a way for you guys to give the percentages that were
they had hype song to hype song to hype song to hype song. And a lot of their discography is that, but there wasn't a lot of spaces in certain parts of the concert for them to breathe. And I just know in DC there was no choice. That concert had to be canceled.
And I know that's what you are, and truthfully you have established that. And I respect that truly, because there's an amazing, not just an opening, but you guys have very much solidified yourselves as being that as a group. In a way that other groups don't do that, because it's not their vibes. I get that. But I think that for longevity's sake and for the ability to do what you need to do, my concern as a watcher, as a listener, as an observer, is that I want everyone to be good in order to be good. Like, that's what I care about. All of this comes from a place of me going, honestly, I believe that you guys have such exceptional potential and talent that shows consistently most of the time, and it just gave, this is going on for a long time, you guys are doing a long slated tour, and I wish that the space gave you the energy necessary to keep it up, because it's hard to do that. I will not sit here and say it's easy, even though you guys have been trained definitely for a long ass time on it. It's not easy.
You know, our goal in doing these is always to be like honest and to give, because we have a lot of people who always comment like, oh, I wasn't able to make it, how was it? And we try to give honest feedback.
I 100% believe in my heart of hearts, if you are a fan, go see the concert.
Go see Stray Kids.
You're gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be fun. You're gonna feel hype. It's gonna make you rejuvenated and feel like, oh crap, I should probably run on a treadmill tomorrow. I did go for a walk. I'm not gonna lie.
It did. Stray Kids inspired you to go.
It really did. It made me get on the treadmill.
Bonchan did say touch grass during the concert. Bonchan, not even during the concert hadn't even started yet. It's DominAte tour. Bonchan says, "Are you ready to be dominated?" And it was funny because the room was like, and I was like, oh no.
I was like, that's a crazy thing.
Bitch, you're hyperventilating.
That's a crazy thing to say when the sun was still up.
That was a crazy thing to say when the sun was still up. And also, like, we're in the middle of Queens. Like, people can hear you in their apartments.
It was awesome.
Like, that's so funny.
It was hilarious, and honestly, it was the way that he was like,
anyway,
he laughs. Anyway,
like a white dad.
He does, and I love it.
You know what was so hot? Why are you acting like you don't know? You know what was so hot?
What?
When Bonchan started yelling at the freaking security people to give people water.
Yeah.
And now I know, I haven't even seen all the videos yet, but I know he was doing the same shit in Washington, and I know he was doing it in a fucking wife beater. That shit was fire. I just know he was.
Else was like, I'll put on my car and just do it. And I'm like,
was that Changbin? Or was that him? It was Bonchan? He said, I got money, don't even worry about it.
Yeah, he's like, I got it. I make the most money probably out of this.
Swipe it.
I have to give a shout out to Han and Changbin.
Yeah.
Because in terms of keeping the hype up, they are hype men out the ass. And honestly, the respect I have for Changbin after that concert.
This concert was worth going to for me because it made me see Changbin in a new light.
100%.
Because I honestly was not a Changbin fan at all. What? That is how I feel. I can't talk about my feelings with our friends. But as he's just a fucking vibe setter. Yeah. That man is an absolute thickums. And he has so much personality that it's hard to not like him.
Yeah.
He's a naturally likable person.
And he is giving his all the entire time.
Yes, he's invested.
And truthfully, most of my favorite raps and cadence from him are not in their most popular songs.
No, I also feel like that's why I'm excited to watch the future of Stray Kids, because I know that that's in there. I know that that type of rap is in there. Even with Hollow, that is a completely different style song than what they have been doing, and I like it. So I think there is a change. There is something coming. I think they just need to have the time to rest and really like work on it and perfect it and come back with it. And I hope that their fandom sticks with them through that, because I think that that is really something that is worth staying for. There were a lot of LGBTQ stays at that concert, and that was really cool because they had their flags because it's Pride, baby. They had their flags with their bias or with the member or with the group on it, and that was super cute to see. And they were put on the screen, they were put on the TV, and I like that we're not icing out certain people or certain fans. So I did love that about the state fandom.
As a leader, Bangchan is very, very good. He keeps
does his job.
going. He does his job. He does his job even when he's not asked to. He does a lot of other people's jobs too, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But he does create a lot of the safe space that is within not just their fandom, but a lot of their what they do.
Right.
So I do have to again give a lot of credit to him. In the conversations of like leaders who are really trying to do it, and like
I agree with that.
Very young person, kind of placing in an impossible situation while also being like a main songwriter and a producer and doing all these things at the same time. It's a lot.
Bringing Felix back. Yeah, he was doing a lot from day one as a leader, honestly,
and trying to bridge the gap between like the foreign members of the group, and whatever. Like it's not an easy thing to do. Like 17's a large group, but they also technically have 3 leaders. Like it's not easy. And losing a member too, but like you're
right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So like I forgot about that because like, but I am happy that they persevere, that they are still going, that they still are standing strong for what they want. And I'm just excited to see what they truly do want to do and actually going towards it. That's mainly my main.
Do you think when they get older that they will change their name to Found Kids or Stray Men?
No.
Okay. I liked my joke, but Adia didn't think it was funny.
It's only because I was like, I was imagining fucking Felix being like, "We're found men."
We're found men.
All right. So I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah.
What was so served of the concert of DominAte World Tour Day 1 in New York City at Citifield? I said that.
Citifield. Okay. Day 1 serve would be my serve of the week is going to be Felix telling one of the audience members in the most polite, idle way to fuck off.
Yeah.
So at one point in the concert, someone's holding up a sign that says like, "Felix, show us your abs" or something, and he like looks down at his shirt and then goes. And what's funny about it is, like, everybody knows Felix is in immaculate fucking shape. Yes. Most of these idols are in immaculate fucking shape.
Shout out J-Head.
Shout out to killing it. But it's like, he's like, "I'm not a piece of meat," you know?
Yeah.
And I really respect that, because I will say, during the concert, you did see a lot of people responding the most to when we were getting an ab slip, or when people were like, showing off muscles or like giving a little sexy face. And at the end of the day, these people are working hard to be artists. You know, they care about their music, they care about what they're putting out there as a product. And I think when you tie so much of it to their look and their physicality, that it is a little bit damaging to the psyche of people that you're claiming to love and care about. So, you know, if you want to make a joke and be like, "A body to die for in this heat" or whatever, that's funny. But like purposefully asking for like dry begging for abdominal muscles is a bit.
Yeah, because they're gonna give it to you if they want to.
And the thing is, at the end he did because he probably felt bad, because he was like,
and they do feel good about, like, we're not gonna sit here and pretend that they're not. I'm gonna slip out. They're not. aware of that and that they don't enjoy it.
They know
work
they're
really
hot.
hard, but they also work hard for those bodies. So like, I mean, I'm gonna be so for real. If I had abs, which I do not, I would be showing them off consistently.
I'm dying.
I'm just being honest. I would.
No,
and
for sure.
I don't, and I still show them off consistently.
As you should.
But that's my point. Like, I think that there is an awareness of something. It makes them feel good, and they know that their fans like it too. That's part of the reason that you're starting to see a lot of people when they start to get real comfortable doing it more. Whether it be a Subin, whether it be like everyone sitting there being like, I feel good. I like it. I'm gonna show it. But the thing that I definitely have noticed is like there's a difference in how you come across as a fan to wanting that. Like I'm not gonna sit here and ask for abs from my fucking, like, it's weird. No, because it's because imagine, and I'm saying it like, again, I believe in equality, so the point is it's not polite. Yeah. But also, like, I'm not about to sit here and go to the Seraphim concert and ask them to show abs too. That's fucking weird.
That's uncomfortable.
Like, it's weird. It is sexualizing them in that moment, and even though yes, it's all for fun and kiki and ha ha ha, and we're all like young and just being funny, it does. We have to take into account that also the work that is put in to have that body a lot of the time is like a lot of painstaking work, and a lot of like time of not eating. So I'm not a fan of it being like, show me your abs. If it's just like the body is tea, go ahead. Exactly. That's fine.
Exactly.
You giving them moments of being like, let me give you affirmations. Amazing. You being like, oh, let me show this picture of when you did it the last time, that's fine too. You asking for it is different. Yeah. That's my thing.
Alright, Dominate, your serve of the week. Right. Or this concert, sorry.
This concert. I laugh just like Boncha. So my serve of the concert is going to be the moments that seem somewhat few and far between. But it's also because of, again, the structure of the concert itself. Any moment when two members were able to interact outside of what they were doing felt very genuine and actually extremely sweet. And not that Stray Kids isn't that way. Like, they are close to. Like, I'm not disregarding that. But there were moments in this concert where, whether it be Lino and Hyunjin, or Ian with everybody, or because he's the baby, or like Sungmin making fun with Felix or whatever. Like, all of these moments that happened in between that kind of gave, for me, I'm a very big observer of people. I'm a big reader. I'm a big like watcher of body language. I unfortunately, and I'm not good at doing it back. But either way, I read body language a lot, and I kind of just ingest it. And it's not so much because I'm sitting there trying to mirror or trying to psychoanalyze anybody or try and get in on anything. It's more so the idea of, I find it fascinating how humans interact with each other, and it tells you a lot about who people are and how they are together. And not just the way they interacted with their dancers and their band, which was also exceptional to watch, but the way in which they would have moments to come out of the grandeur of what it is that they're doing and just kind of have a moment was like really, really kind of the bread and butter for me, where I went, okay, I see. Like, obviously, a lot of these K-pop groups, a lot of performers, a lot of artists in general, I'm talking about all of them, it doesn't matter where you're from, a lot of the time people are like, the best part forward for people to understand why people like them is to watch them on stage and what they do as performers, and I 100% believe that too. But I think something that needs to be taken into consideration is that 20% of what you're going to need to get from that too, of understanding people like somebody, is the other piece. There has to be something that explains why the engagement is what it is, that's not just how they perform. Because there's a reason people love, yes, Michael Jackson was fucking phenomenal, but there's other reasons why people love Michael Jackson. Yes, Beyonce is phenomenal, but there's other reasons why people like Beyonce. There's like people, Taylor Swift,
getting to know who your artist is as a person.
Yes.
Is the fun part. And I think that's why people get into K-pop, because you get that experience. You get to learn them in that way more than you can sometimes in the West.
And sometimes it's oversaturated, so a lot of the times it's going to be we can't sit here and pretend that yes, they have all their TV shows and all these things. It is still them, but they're also being turned on for a camera. So if they're being filmed constantly,
it's them through a filter.
And they're being filmed constantly, even when they're traveling in Switzerland. By the fucking way, stop doing that.
Yeah.
The fuck. So, but they know that, and it's very overwhelming on a human standpoint. I know that they are groomed to be whatever they are, but like the fact of the matter is, it's very, very odd. So it also is part of what makes them a little reserved.
Like, I felt like when they were doing their in-between bits in the concert where they're talking, Bangchan would have moments, because we're right next to Newark Airport. Well, not right next to. Well, we're near LaGuardia.
We're next to LaGuardia, yeah.
We're near LaGuardia Airport. Planes are flying over Citifield. And Bangchan would be talking and talking and talking, and then that ADD would just take over, baby. And he was like, hey, plane. And like every time, even though he knew he was trying to do his job, he is the leader of the group, he's trying to do his job. And he's like, yeah, and I know that you guys love doing the blah. And so what's fun for me is when you, and so when you, and it was so adorable.
It was so cute. And not only that, like, it was somewhat validating, because there were moments when it wasn't even that I just got distracted. It was that I legit was like, damn, those planes are loud. Because they were being loud.
Over a concert.
Like, over the sound.
And firework. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah. But I was like, okay, because it was happening a lot when they were talking again. They talked for 10 minutes a lot of times. And so it was a long time. And so there was like 5 planes on my body. Was like, oh my God. I said, you're a regular person. That's so funny. You're such a dork. Those real moments, those moments where I was like, oh, right. Like this, and it's not that it takes me out or that I'm not seeing them as human beings. If there's just something that happens that we cannot disregard that is parasocial in nature, they are there. We have paid money to watch you dance. Like we go here, dance. Like it's kind of
monkey, like it feels.
And it is that in many ways, but there's also like the whole point is like the strengthening of the fact that there's like this relationship between like both, and I understand that. I'm not disregarding it. I'm not saying it's not valid and it's not natural and organic. What I'm saying is that there is that one little thing though that will always, like, there needs to be a boundary there, and the part where they get to show themselves feels very comforting, and as if they feel comfort and that they feel okay being themselves. Even the amount of freaking dad jokes that Bangchan made, it would have put my father to shame. It was funny because it solidified the fact that you're Australian. Because they love a joke.
Alright guys, so thank you for listening to our recap. If you're wondering why our mics aren't on, it's because we just wanted to hold them for continuity. Thank you for listening to our Stray Kids recap. We were excited that we got to experience a concert, and even more excited that we get to experience it with more of you. As our platform grows, we're just grateful that people are interested in what we have to talk about. And if you're not interested in what we have to talk about, slay.
That's fine.
If you would like us, follow us. You can listen to us on Spotify. You can listen to us on anywhere where you get your podcasts, any of your streaming platforms. We have a TikTok, we have an Instagram. And if you have any questions, if you want to continue this conversation, if you have more Stray Kids talk or more points that you think we need to make, shoot us a message, shoot us an email, and we'll do that.
Also, I must say, I was missing Hollow in the concert. It is a good song, and I do recommend it.
내 손님 어서 오십시오 이 가게는 참 메뉴가 고르기도 쉽죠 시켜도 오감을